Man who went to hospital as nipple was leaking pus turns out had knife stuck in his chest for 8 years. You'd be forgiven for thinking you'd probably just scratched yourself and got a mild infection that antibiotics would sort out. It turns out the man had something much, much worse. Sometimes truth is stranger than fiction, as an X-ray revealed the man had a sizable knife buried deep inside his chest. The 44-year-old man from Tanasana had expressed concern as the pus started to come out of his right nipple, but never in your wildest dreams would you think a knife would be lodged in there. Absolutely not. Absolutely not at all. A lot of questions going through my head right now. Bizarrely, doctors noticed that besides the pus, he seemed well enough in himself. A case report described the patient as otherwise healthy, and somehow he was without any chest pain, difficulty breathing, cough, or fever. The mind boggles. Doctors became concerned when the man confessed he had been involved in a violent altercation some 8 years earlier. Okay, so now it's starting to make sense a little bit. He told them he received multiple cuts to his face, back, chest, and abdomen. As he lived in a remote area, he only received surface level treatment and an X-ray was not carried out. The case notes described the previous 8 years as an eventful course until his current presentation. They said he had arrived at the hospital discharging foul-smelling pus with hardened or thickened skin around it underneath his right nipple. At an ordinary X-ray, a retained metallic object was found, and medics realized it was a knife, and it was surrounded by pus and necrotic tissue. It had entered his body through his right shoulder. Surgery was immediately recommended, and medics managed to retrieve the knife, and the man was deemed fit and well enough to return home just 10 days later. The notes do state how lucky this individual was. While this patient recovered well after surgery, there was a considerable risk that the retained knife could lead to a fatal outcome. The experts revealed that the reason the patient survived for so long with the knife embedded was because his body successfully managed to encapsulate the foreign body with a fabulous capsule, a tough protective layer of tissue, limiting inflammation and tissue damage. However, as his body had started to leak pus, it became clear his luck was running out and the man was starting to display serious complications. They finished by saying, "This case illustrates the urgent need for increased awareness and improved protocols for trauma management, safe surgery in low-resource setting." When it comes to like hospitals and whatnot, it doesn't take much to really freak me out, if that makes sense. Like, I'm a big wimp when it comes to that sort of stuff. I admit that wholeheartedly. But to the fact that I find out, this issue I'm having is because of a knife stuck inside of my body, that's a whole nother issue altogether. And that's absolutely crazy that this guy managed to go such a long time without, like, he basically had a knife inside his system. I mean, it goes without saying that, like, he's extremely lucky to be alive. Extremely lucky. Thankfully, he was able to have surgery and have the knife taken out of his body, and he was released from hospital 10 days later and is now on the road to recovery, or probably has recovered by now. Hopefully one day this guy would do like a podcast interview or something like that, because I'm very fascinated over this guy's story. Like, I'm very fascinated over this altercation he had with this individual. I'm intrigued to know all about the uneventful night. Maybe he was on a night out one day and he probably had too much to drink, and him and some other dude got into some kind of altercation, and then things started going from 1 to 100, and then shit got out of control and he ended up with a knife inside his body. Maybe that was the case, who knows. People have stories out there when it comes to like having some sort of night out and then you end up doing some wild crazy shit that you probably thought you'd never ever do, or you get involved in some kind of altercation that you thought you would never be involved in one way or another, if that makes sense. So all in all, please let me know your feelings down below. What do you make of this story? Are you as fascinated by this story as much as I am? Do you have any questions, like I do, when it comes to this guy, when it comes to this story? Thank you very much for tuning in. Until next time, take care, stay safe, have a wonderful rest of your day. I'll catch you guys next time. Bye for now.